Yo, yo, Sweaty Opinions coming at you live from E3 2K13 partners.
2K13.
2K13. What up? How you guys doing out there?
What's up, Jordan? How are you? It's good to be doing the show, episode 20.1,
Exactly.
so to
Exactly.
speak.
A
Yeah, yeah.
first in the trilogy. This is a new hope right here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
We're right in the heart of Los Angeles here, live from the Sheridan Universal in Universal Studios, or by Universal Studios in Los
Oh,
Angeles. I am with Chris.
Hello.
We
friend
are
of the show. Sup, dude?
yes, friend of the show.
Hey, hey.
We're having a good time, man. All in all,
Very
it's been
good.
fun so far. Yeah.
Gotcha. So day one was a blast. Day one gets
Yeah.
the seal of approval.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome.
We were talking about this earlier, but the longest line we stood in today was for Starbucks coffee. Um, and honestly, it was a madhouse. There's probably 50 people in line just to get a cup of coffee, and it's people need their caffeine, man. It's crazy out here. So, but all in all, yeah, it was a really awesome day. We had a great time.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess we'll for the first part of the show, if you guys just kind of want to walk us through your day and just
Sure.
let us know what you saw, what you played, stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, as soon as we got there, the first thing we kind of did was do a preliminary kind of walk around the entire venue to kind of see where everything was and kind of take a mental note of what was going on and what we really wanted to
Check out.
check out and be a part of today for sure. So that was kind of the first step between the two big rooms there, and it was huge. I mean, it was definitely a very impressive setup. So it's more like a stage than it is a convention, like your typical comic convention or PAX or anything like that. It's like kind of like stage lights and loud music the entire time. But yeah, all in all, it was awesome. So that was the first thing we did today.
Cool.
After that, we got some hands-on time with Payday 2. It was the first game we played. Really, really, really awesome experience all around. The team that had put it together were incredibly friendly. They were kind of just running the whole show there. They had guys in Payday masks. I had sent you quite a bit of pictures there, so you definitely
Yeah.
post some of that. You can see
Yeah, they're
the,
definitely going to go up on the site. Well, on
Yeah,
the Facebook page. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. You can see the monitors. You can kind of see like the layout. For Chris and I, this was the first time in a long time that we had taken an attempt at a first-person shooter on PC. So that was actually the device that we played it on was a PC.
A
So
little bit of a learning curve there. Yeah.
yeah, well, it really wasn't too bad because it's
It's definitely a different feel.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a different feel, and we've been there before, but it was more the fact that it's like the buttons weren't really presented to us. It was kind of like just figure it out.
Yeah.
So that
So
was
I
kind
didn't
of
know how
fun.
to reload. You didn't know how to sprint.
Yeah, like I was like
Walking so
I
slow.
saw a guy like run up the steps like up the fire escape and like start shooting cops. I'm like, why is he running so fast? He's like, oh, because he's hitting run. Just press this button. I'm like, well, what the fuck? I'm walking through the hallway getting shot. But
Just
But
the
yeah,
most
man, really,
laid
really-
back bank robber ever.
yeah, I was like doing dance moves, but
Okay.
yeah, but it was it was a known quantity, as we like to say, but it was one of those things that it is a really awesome multiplayer experience. If there's anything I can say, it is very much like Left 4 Dead. Down to like the color schemes and lining up things and working with your team. So that much, it's definitely a great game. You and I had talked about playing the first one again, or playing the first one. So we definitely
Yeah,
need to do
absolutely.
that because this one is really, really awesome. Basically, how the mission that we did was a bank robbing mission where you have to kind of like go in and open up a vault, and you have to place a drill in front of the vault and fire it up, and basically you have to kind of kill time and try to keep everything under control while that happens. Well, we had seen it kind of played out a few times differently throughout the day before we did it. But everything you do has a key factor in how it goes down. Kind of like with Left 4 Dead. If you run through, obviously you're going to get killed. But in this situation, the team that we had seen before us, like the guy put his mask on, raised suspicion, everybody like went fucking nuts, like in the bank. Whereas in my game,
As they should.
yeah. In our game, we were kind of like we snuck in the back, and I fired on a security camera without a silencer, so everybody was like, "What was that?" And then everybody they all lose their minds, and and then it's like there's hostages like screaming, and so. But yeah, all in all, it was awesome. And it
Cool.
plays out differently. Chris had an experience where you were talking about it
Yeah,
earlier.
like I was watching one where when they finally got in the safe, there was like a crap ton of money just sitting on a table, and you load it up and you get out of there. But when we went in, there was nothing, and the guys working in the booth were like, "Oh, you need to search the security deposit boxes," and there's like 50 of them
Yeah.
at least. And,
It's like a real like bank with
yeah.
safety deposit
So
boxes.
Joey and one guy were just going through one by one, while me and the other guy were letting the cops like bottleneck into the vault, just like shooting them all down.
Yeah, and the one guy who worked for them was like, oh, he's like, it's cool because if you get the money, you can still go through the box, go through all the boxes if you're greedy. But we're sitting there and like we were picking at him forever, and we just keep finding random things, in the boxes. And like basically, sometimes they have stuff in it, but other times it's like, little trinkets and bullshit that mean stuff to people, like, documents, And the one I opened had a sandwich in it. It was a piece of bread with a slice of cheese on it with a bite out of it. And I said to the guy, "What's this about?" And then he was kind of saying, "Oh, when we had to pick things, they were like, oh, pick random items that you can throw in there that have nothing to do with the game." So he's like, "So we took a picture of, a piece of cheese in a sandwich with a bite taken out of it. It's funny." And so it was really cool. Like they were super cool about it. Like really, really funny. But after like about 5 minutes of picking the locks, he's like, maybe you guys should get to the extraction point.
Maybe you guys want to go do fun stuff.
Yeah. So, but we got out in one piece. So
Nice. Well, hey, so real quick, like you guys were saying, like in one playthrough, a team came across like a pile of money, and then like in your guys' playthrough, it was just lockboxes. So it's kind of actually sort of like dynamic, like Left 4
Yeah.
Dead, where it's like changing. All right, sweet.
yeah, it
Was the
definitely
first
changed.
one like that? Like Chris, you played the first one, right?
It was. I mean, the only thing that was dynamic about it was the way that you completed the mission. Because, like we said earlier, you can go in guns blazing. You can try to sneak your way in a little
Yeah.
further, like stuff like that. Or you can, take everyone hostage. Because, like in the first one, I didn't notice it in the second one. I'm sure you can, like the one we played today. But in the first one, you had like cable ties, so you could tie up people. So if one of your teammates got taken into custody, you could trade a hostage for the person back and stuff like that. So we didn't really run into that because we were pretty much mowing down the police. No
Yeah,
problem.
it was like basically like a street war the entire time. But we were one of 3 teams that got through in one piece at that point. The guy said, hey, you guys completed it. He's like, the only 2 other people did it today. So it was pretty cool. We
Nice.
felt good about that.
Very
We
cool.
got little payday masks, and we were on our way. So, but yeah, that was the first thing we had done
Awesome.
today. Definitely worth checking out. Really, I won't say it's a pleasant surprise because, like I said, we knew that this game was kind of a sleeper hit when it came out before, and these guys are talented. So it's just it was just a good surprise. It was just a good pleasantry of the show in general. So it's going to be an awesome game.
Gotcha. Cool. Now, is that going to be just on PC, or is that coming to any of the consoles, current or next gen?
Yeah, it's all multi-platform.
Yeah, it's going to be multi-platform.
Okay, all right.
It's going to be on all of them. So yeah,
Awesome.
it'll be interesting for sure to see how that. And honestly, as much as Chris and I had discussed this when we were in there, but as much as that is kind of like an interesting thing, I think that that's something that kind of needs to happen for them because they were kind of like off to the side. And I think that, we got in line and we played it right away. I think a lot of people really are not aware of what that game was or have really played it because it was a PlayStation Network exclusive. And,
Yeah.
Now it's going to be a different story. I think it's something that they definitely needed to kind of put their name out there. So we wish them luck. It was awesome.
Sweet. Very cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, what did you guys hit up next then?
After that, we were kind of like looking around. There's a bunch of various things, but the big like ticket items that we had kind of hit on today was we went and watched the demonstration of Dead Rising 3.
Okay.
So we waited in line and got in to see that. And I had sent you pictures. There's a lot of awesome pictures on there of Dead Rising. We got some really
There
awesome
were.
pictures in there. So definitely put them all up.
It's basically this is like a presentation from 2 guys from the Vancouver studio, like Capcom Vancouver,
Yeah.
like showing us.
They were saying that it's the biggest game that they have put together. It's all open world. There's no load times. And I can attest to watching it that that's exactly how it is. The game itself is those notes if you can. The games themselves are basically like it's one of the more
Overall, it's like a way more mature theme this time around.
yeah, it's definitely more mature. It's darker. It looks fantastic. I'm very curious to see how long it's going to be exclusive to Xbox. I think within the year after that, it'll be on PlayStation. But I mean, it's
Really?
definitely
Okay.
impressive.
Well, like I
Yeah,
could see it coming to PC eventually, because that's kind of how it went with like the last Dead Rising 2. But I don't know, like maybe Microsoft paid him, but that it didn't seem like that high profile of a title to like really
Yeah.
throw
Well,
that much money at it, you know?
yeah, when
Mhm.
you look at the position they're in, Microsoft needs like big exclusives because
Yeah.
you know they're boasting that whole like 15 exclusive game thing, and I think
Yeah.
they must have thrown a bunch of money at Capcom because there's no way that Capcom would want to lose out on that much money on another system.
Yeah, I hope it's
You
a
know what I mean?
timed exclusive. You're probably right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, just from the demo we saw, I mean, there's like all this Xbox Smart Glass stuff that we'll talk
Yeah.
about. Like, there's
Okay.
that's a big reason why they're doing it exclusive to Xbox One now, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things like you watch it and there's a trailer on IGN for a lot of people that want to see the actual in-game kind of walkthrough, but I'm pretty sure it was different for everyone. It's very similar because like we got to watch it, we got to see more than we did before. But excuse me, it was a long day. But
It's understandable.
basically, you get to see this guy. There are weapons that are on the fly now. There's no workbenches. So that's really cool because the guy's a mechanic. So he goes through and it's like, oh, he automatically knows how to put shit together. You don't have to go to a workbench. There's all hideouts now, as opposed to like one on top of the mall or one here, one there. There's different hideouts and there's survivors that stay at them, and they actually the hideouts actually need to be reinforced, I think, a little bit this time because he showed up to the one and all of the survivors had been dead, like strewn about the floor. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty intense. It seems that the slapstick humor is all kind of gone, but
It's
not.
just dumbed down a little
Yeah,
bit.
I mean, you don't hear him saying like silly shit anymore like he did in the other
he's,
game.
He's more kind of like not a wussy, but
Yeah.
he gets like, oh my god, I almost didn't make it.
Yeah. He's very.
Seems more desperate.
Yeah, it's more of a serious tone for sure, but I
See-
don't think it's a bad thing per se.
Okay.
Only because it's because of how big this game is, and there's a lot to it, and I think that this type of game is hot right now. I mean, we haven't even got a chance to see DayZ yet, and that's on our list to go check that out. Hopefully tomorrow or the next day. There was Last of Us is big right now. We had talked about State of Decay. I mean, all of these survival zombie third-person games are out and are relevant, and I think that Capcom kind of has lost its way a little bit with Resident Evil, and I think that this is like their okay, we need a serious entry into what we used to control, from to that aspect, and I think that that's why it's kind of like that. It remains to be seen whether or not it's going to have an effect on the way it sells. I really don't think it will. I think it's going to be a positive thing. But
We'll see, like, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, like definitely from watching the press conference video, like the video they showed during the Xbox press conference, it definitely looked like a more kind of like based in quote unquote reality. I realize the irony of using that word in a game about zombies, but it looked like a tone shift from the other ones. But one of the pictures you guys sent me, like you texted me after you guys got done, checking it out, that like dude had like a shark suit on.
Yeah, shark suit.
So it looks like it's kind of retained. So it's like this weird balance, and it's almost like to me personally, like if Capcom wanted to stay relevant with like making like serious zombie games, like maybe make a good Resident Evil like numbered entry. I don't know. Maybe that could, but like I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it's like kind of like trying to have like a foot in both kind of camps, of like it's kind of like serious and like realistic, and there's like there's a lot of gunplay in the video that I saw, like a lot of like shooting and stuff like that. But then you got these wacky things which I think kind of like endeared it to a lot of people. Yeah, maybe I think you can go too wacky. I think eventually it just becomes like a pair of clown shoes. But like, yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully they strike a good balance here where they have like these crazy items because that's kind of the appeal. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think that one of the most impressive thing to me is the amount of zombies that are on the screen at one time. It
oh
doesn't
yeah,
hiccup, and I can tell you that it doesn't
really.
slow down at all. Like it's
Oh
very
man,
very impressive. The
okay.
amount, like the driving and the explosion, but the things that like I was actually like really impressed with, aside from like the graphics and like because it looks like Dead Rising, but like better obviously, but it's still the same kind of thing. Like it still has that same fluid motion where it's like kind of a little bit slower paced than most third person games. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's not quite like Grand Theft Auto speed or Saints Row speed. It's more of like and it's not quite as slow as like a Resident Evil speed. It's like somewhere in the middle there. But I think the other impressive thing was the Xbox Smart Glass um, application portion of it. I mean, you have like a GPS system, and you can pretty much find anything. Like so like there's parts where it's like they set up he's looking for a weapons drop and he finds it on the map and then he GPSs himself through it with Xbox Smart Glass. The other impressive thing is that there's
Wow.
now things like weapon strikes. So the big ending to the whole thing and what some of those huge explosions are is he does a drone strike and he maps the area out on Smart Glass and then it pinpoints the targets and drops bombs on them. So there's a lot of crazy cool kind of shit that is incorporated with the technology. I think is going
That
to
is
be
really cool.
going to kind of be the stuff that I think Microsoft needs to sell the game a little bit better and to kind of like push their smart glass because let's face it, that's kind of what all three of them are going to be working on, the portable handheld kind of like way to incorporate with a console. Like they've all done it to a degree. Xbox has smart glass, like the PlayStation has the Vita, and the Wii U has the controller. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of that, and I think that it's definitely a cool way for them to do what they're doing. So
I totally agree. In fact, that's like I'll save it for when it's relevant, but that's one of my like huge talking points of E3 of like
mm-hmm.
the big like kind of like well, it's not undiscussed, but like the thing that's kind of just like right underneath the surface is just how pervasive your tablet is going to be with
Mm-hmm.
just everything next gen because yeah like because companies are doing exactly what Capcom's doing. So yeah, like I'll save it for when when we talk about stuff, but yeah, like
Yeah.
that's really cool. Like that is like a really interesting way to implement tablet rather than just be like, oh, well, you equip health packs on your tablet or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. You manage your inventory there,
Yeah, it's
and
more than
that's
like an
it.
inventory
Yeah.
management system for sure.
Yeah,
So
there's
Yeah.
more stuff they didn't show obviously,
Oh,
but
sure.
you
Mhm.
could tell there was way more to it. Yeah.
yeah, so it's definitely
Awesome.
something that seems interesting. But um,
Yeah, and overall too, just the game itself is really streamlined. Anything like in previous Dead Risings, if you found a cool outfit, you had to go back to that store if you ever wanted to use it
mhm.
again. But in this one, any outfits you find, there's clothing lockers. Any weapons you find, there's a weapon locker. So once you
Yeah.
find it, you can go to those safe houses and grab it again if
Yeah,
you
it's
like
in
run out. Yeah,
it's in every clothing locker at every safe
yeah,
house that you find, so you don't have
Pretty
to like
much
go
like the
back.
old chests in the Resident Evil games.
Yeah, yep,
yeah.
same
And
thing.
like Joey said, you find weapon blueprints and you can make that stuff on the fly as long as you have those items. And actually, like with the new RPG system that they made, you can like upgrade yourself so you don't even need both items. Like if you have one of them, you can make it and like you can build your character the way you want to instead
Yeah,
of just getting whatever you get next level and stuff.
Very
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So that was kind of like the second thing on the agenda that we had hit up there. After that, we were kind of like looking around. What else do we have?
Yeah, there's a lot of games you can just walk up and play. So we were just
Yeah,
jumping on to different things. I mean, we
yeah.
split up a couple times or we played games together.
Yeah, we were kind of like all over. Aside from, I guess that we talk about Killzone was the next one. Yeah, the next cool game that we had played together was the Killzone Mercenary game for Vita.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's cool because they actually set up like a network and they had you can do, I think it was like what, 4-on-4.
Yeah, it's like multiplayer.
Yeah,
matches,
it was
yeah.
multiplayer matches on the Vita, and it played well. For a shooter that was on a handheld device, like it was definitely something that was worth checking out. It's definitely something that I've seen that's the best so far out of something like that. It was a little laggy overall. It was impressive. I think the most impressive portion of it was that it is a handheld shooter that runs on the same engine as Killzone 3. So,
Yeah,
I mean, the
that's
game looks
saying
great.
something.
Yeah, so the game looks great, plays great for anybody who has a Vita. It's going to be something that I think is worthwhile for sure. It's the first kind of entry I've seen in anything like that is good because I mean we've seen like Metal Gear try to be implemented and it's had its ups and downs but we've seen Killzone before, but it's always had to be a different format. We've seen other games like Resistance, and they've never kind of really worked out. This seems to be like something that could in fact work out, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a game a lot of people have been waiting for as far as like they expect out of this handheld.
Mm-hmm.
They've been waiting for just a solid shooter, that has multiplayer and has like you have all these loadouts when you're playing and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely seems to fall in line with their messaging of like they really were trying to make like a legitimate shooter.
Mm-hmm.
On their handheld unit there, the Vita. So that's cool to hear for people who are looking for anything to play on their goddamn Vita.
Yeah,
Some ray of sunshine. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right
It's
on.
crazy because the Vita section. I mean, we're gonna check out more in the next couple of days, but the Vita section at the Sony booth was just like rows and rows of games you could play, whether it be like the new Batman game, the new Rayman game, like all these.
The Walking
awesome,
Dead, they had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and then Tearaway too. You guys should try and check that out.
No, I did play that. It was cool.
Oh, sweet. Okay,
cool.
Cool.
It plays pretty smoothly, but it's pretty much what you've seen in the trailers. You're poking your finger through. It was pretty much just a demo, like of what you could do. I didn't really get into how you're actually like playing the game story wise.
Okay.
But anything you've seen in the trailers is what I did, poking through the ground and like pushing things and all that kind of stuff. But it definitely felt cool.
So it remains to be seen kind of how it all comes together to be like an actual
like how it'll stay interesting
game experience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Well, I see the time that we're at here. We're going to have to tear through this quickly so we can get all these together. So the other thing we went through, if you can bring those up again, we got some notes here. We played Lego Marvel. It's more of the same. Looks really fun. Just kind of like went through it quickly to see how it was. I had touched on Saints Row 4. I played it a little bit. Known quantity there, but basically it's more
Such
like
a good known quantity.
It's Crackdown on acid, dude. It's just insane. The shit that you can do in it is just out of control. It's impressive. We're gonna get it. We could talk more about it next week for sure. But it looks
Did you
good.
Did you get to use the dubstep gun?
Oh, of course. That was the first gun I used. The girl started laughing when she said, she's like, everybody picks that first.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
I picked the water gun.
Yeah, there's a water gun,
It was
the
like
laser
lasers,
sword. Dude, it's just like when you run now, like you run into a car and it just flies right off the road and people scream. So it's pretty funny. Chris had played a little bit of Lost Planet 3.
Okay.
Your thoughts on that?
I was
meh.
excited to see how it was because I like the Lost Planet series, but it just felt a little stiff. Like I don't know, I couldn't really shoot things because it was just I don't know. Maybe it was the way they had the like options set up, but like it just wasn't very fun, so I kind of walked away from it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
So
but it feels weird because that game's been like shown and talked about, and like it goes away, it comes back, it goes away. Because when I went last year for E3, it had a huge booth, and this time, I mean, we didn't really spend much time at Capcom today, but we were at Xbox, and there was like 2 little TVs you could play it on. So. I don't know.
The surprise for me. Oh, Chris, you also played Deadpool, right?
Yeah. Being like a Deadpool fan, I really wanted to check it out. I mean, it's coming out.
How
here.
was it? I'm looking forward to that too. Yeah. How was it?
Definitely was. What I played was definitely the final game because I was like earning trophies as I was playing. But it was fun because you switch between you have different kinds of guns, different melee weapons, and different like items you can throw. So, like, as you progress through the game, you collect Deadpool points. Like, obviously, the game is very self-aware because Deadpool's all about breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
So, he knows you're playing a video game with him, but, like, you get these things called Deadpool points when you kill people. So you can upgrade to get, pistols, submachine guns, shotguns, but you also have your katanas and then shurikens and, like, sais, and then you have, like, these bear traps and grenades, like ridiculous stuff, and the game's just over the top.
It's
and,
brutally violent
Yeah.
and bloody as hell. Like from what I was watching, standing there was just ridiculous.
And Nolan North's like awesome, obviously doing the voice acting, and you can seamlessly go
usual.
from gunplay to melee to all that stuff. So it definitely looks fun.
Yeah.
Sweet.
My the game that I played that was I think the surprise of the day for me was Rain on PSN.
All right.
It's going to be a PSN exclusive. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen anything from it. Really,
They
really
showed
awesome.
it briefly at the press conference. Yeah.
Yeah, really,
Okay.
really awesome. It's a great indie title with like kind of like small, stealthier puzzles that are based on like rain mechanics. Without getting too overly into detail, basically the premise is that your character is invisible, and there's invisible monsters, and you're chasing an invisible girl, and when you're in the rain, you can see yourself, and when you're not, you're invisible. So it's like there's a really awesome play on when it's raining, everybody can see you, so you have to run out of the rain, and then you're like hiding under overhangs and you can't see stuff, but you're bumping into like ladders and garbage cans and knocking shit over, so like the beast can still hear you, and then you're running in puddles and you're making noise. So it's like it's a lot better than I'm making it out to be, but it's a very cool exclusive title for PSN that like sucked me in immediately, and I think it's going to be really, really awesome. So that was like my surprise for the day.
I think you sold it pretty well there. I don't think you were undercutting it there. Yeah, I mean, like it definitely sounds like an awesome kind of mechanic that it seems really indicative of, indie gaming, where you get like these games that are kind of, there's not, explosions and car chases and stuff, but it's like this really cool, clever, interesting mechanic that you can just kind of explore. So that's awesome. That's good to hear. That the bet they're taking on kind of like backing indie is paying off. Sweet.
Yeah. There's other stuff I wanted to talk about, but
we can kind of talk about. I mean, besides playing all like the random games that are available to play, we got our hands on PS4 and Xbox One controllers.
Yeah, which
Okay,
I was going to that a little bit.
Let's talk about that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I guess we'll start with the Xbox controller. Okay. Last night we had went to the Microsoft reveal at the store in Santa Monica with Larry Herb, Major Nelson, and there was tons of people there. They were taking pre-orders. They were letting you come in and kind of play around. And there was a tech demo for the controller, if you want to call it that.
It was basically they just hooked up the controller with a USB to a tablet, and like you basically pulled the right trigger to start the demo, but then it
had a mind of its own.
Yeah, you just felt the rumbles. That was it. Because I actually made it like glitch out because I was trying to push buttons and interact with it, and it like froze. And the guy's like, "This doesn't usually happen," and he had to like restart the tablet and stuff. But
they put a black hood over you and carry you out. You're never seen again.
The controller's comfortable. It fits in your hands a little bit better than the 360. The first thing you'll notice,
even more comfortable than the 360.
Yeah, I think it's a good compact design from what the 360 controller is. It's like a little bit smaller. It is very
smaller. It looks bigger.
Yeah. Well, the controller's wider, but it's thinner, and all the buttons are smaller, and the analogs are smaller.
The analogs are really small in comparison to the really, really small. The D-pad is that new D-pad from the newer models of the controllers.
Which is a good thing. I mean, it's still not up there with like Sony's D-pad, but
the controller in general, if you ask me, looks like the S-type controller from the original Xbox.
Yeah.
Like to a T.
Awesome.
Not a lot of people have said anything about that, but I've been saying it the whole time. That's what it looks like. But a little bit
real quick.
better.
What did you guys? I want to go back to the analog sticks real quick. What did you guys think about that smaller size?
I think that I'd have to have it a little more in context, but it felt good in my hands for the most part.
Yeah, they're definitely, and they're taller off of the controller.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's cool. That's actually kind of like a good thing. It gives you a little bit more precision. Sweet.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. But yeah, no, all in all, they were pretty comfy. I think that they're going to have great functionality. It's just a matter of letting us kind of see that. So I'm hoping we touch on that a little more tomorrow. The games that we got to play on the one game we got to play on the Xbox One was not very indicative of good controls or future title. It was like Loco Cycle. I think it's
yeah.
It looks like a launch title, dude. It's very
it's from the Explosion Man guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
very
not
goofy. It's
like
Kung Fu Rider.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it
Yeah.
felt like.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's just very goofy. It's kind of all over the place. It's not what I'd want to play. Um, it would be a DLC title if you ask me, but it's probably not. So yeah. But other than that, like the controller all in all looks like it's going to be something a lot better than what they've got going on right now. Then I guess we'll move on to the PS4 controller.
PS4 had
Yeah, let's talk
more
about
stuff
Sony.
to try
The
out.
PS4 had a lot more games that were a little bit more accessible. Kind of backpedaling a little or backtracking a little bit. The game that I had played was what was it called? Oh, I had it down and the notes disappeared because my phone sucks. But that doesn't suck, but it didn't send it through.
It's like, do you know what it is, Jordan? It's
do you
like a free-to-play game on the PC that's coming to PS4.
Oh, Warframe.
Yes,
There you
Warframe.
go.
Okay, first of all, let me say that.
Expert,
Yeah.
aka sad virgin.
Let me say that this is the first game that I played today that and this week that when I was looking at the screen and I had the controller in my hand, I finally was saying to myself, this is next gen.
Yeah.
The graphics are incredible. The game is incredibly fast, incredibly smooth.
It's like snappy. Right?
Yeah, very snappy, and they give you a little directory and like a key with how to run the what the buttons are, but I didn't look at it, and I just picked it up and played, and I actually had a ranged character with sniping, so I was really kind of like adamant about getting the most out of the controller. But
Yeah.
let me tell you that the controller is fucking fantastic for the PS4.
Oh.
They've taken everything. They've taken everything that you've liked about the old style and made it that much better. It's thinner in your hands. It's lighter. It fits. It has a little bit of ribbing so that the parts on the old controller that felt slippery are not there anymore. The buttons feel the same. The triggers are now curved on the bottom, more like an actual trigger from a 360 controller, or like the what do you call it? Like those attachments you can buy for them.
Yeah. It angles up.
Yeah, it angles up a little bit more like a trigger. But dude,
concave,
because I'm actually like one who is very adamant about the PS3 controller, and it actually looks really really awesome, and it's completely, it's a really good thing. So.
And another interesting thing was they haven't mentioned this at all, I don't think, because I haven't read it anywhere. But the touchpad in the center, you can actually like press it down as like a button.
Oh wow! Oh, it actually
There wasn't any games you could play where it really used it much, so I don't know if there's going to be a difference if you push down harder and drag across or whatnot. But yeah,
well, the girl that was there at the display was trying to tell Chris something about it, but I mean, I wasn't paying attention
apparently
to her.
You could use like characters' abilities by using the touchpad, but she didn't really go into depth with it. So,
but yeah, I know that it was a bone of contention for you, Jordan, and let me tell you, I think you'll be very pleased with how it feels and how it operates, because it's a very nice controller. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, awesome. Well, that's very good news, because that's the thing. Like the Xbox One controller, I mean, that wasn't as urgent for me to kind of like get the feel, because I mean, like it really just seemed like a kind of like a progression from the 360 controller. And in my opinion, the 360 controller is one of the best designed controllers like out there. The PS3 controller, like I really like, clearly. Just from looking at it from the reveal, and then when they showed it at the press conference, they had changed up the controller from PS3 to PS4. So I wanted to see if there was a good, like that was one of my last like kind of sticking points where it's like I don't really want another DualShock kind of thing that's like the PS3. Like it was fine, I got used to it, but I definitely like the 360 controller more. So that's really good to hear. The PS4 controller is kind of caught up.
Yeah, it's definitely taken a turn for the better. So we were stoked on it. Aside from that, kind of finishing up here, what else did we see? We'd seen the other game that I had played was Flashback, the remake that's coming out on Xbox Live for summer. Because to me, I had to.
Summer of Arcade.
Yeah, it's going to be a part of Summer of Arcade. I really wanted to play it because, as we had talked about, it's one of my favorite games. The interesting thing is that, you sit down and, first of all, it's awesome. It looks and feels like the old Flashback. There's actually a 1993 mode that strips the game down and makes it a little bit harder like the original. But, dude, the opening cutscene is, like, exactly taken straight from the original game, like the original, scenes that were in that, but they redo them and make them look awesome. The guy said all the levels are exactly the same. There's one extra level, and that extra level is like a bike scene chase from a cutscene that they turned into a level. So it was cool. I was actually talking to the main the writer who was brought on board, and it was kind of like trying to get some info out of him. Wasn't really a whole lot to talk that he was going to talk about, but basically he was brought on about a year ago, and so they've been working on it for quite a while. It's the original team of everybody that worked on the original Flashback. Yeah, so the original programmers and everybody who was a part of what is the name of that? Delphine. I cannot believe I remember that. Everybody from Delphine is
Nice.
is,
Yeah, dude.
actually
Get a gold sticker.
yeah, right.
Star
Is a part
sticker,
of
man.
is a part of the game. So he came in and helped them write a little bit, but dude, it looks promising. I'm definitely going to pick it up. So yeah, I mean that was kind of the gist of all the stuff we went through. We'll talk a little bit more, I guess, tomorrow about the. We'll give you something to look forward to. The Quantic Dream display that we had sat in on.
It was really impressive.
It was very, very impressive, but not exactly what you would think. But yes, it was pretty impressive. I think we can cover that a little more if we can hopefully get our hands on the game that they have presenting for PS3. So
Sure.
yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, it sounds like you guys had a really cool day. I am super fucking jealous of both you assholes, and I've just been sitting here just playing XCOM and frowning, and then just watching a bunch of videos like super late into the evening. So yeah, man. I guess to all our listeners, thank you guys for checking in. If you're coming to this, if you just came straight to the channel here, definitely check out our Facebook page. A lot of the pictures that we referenced in this little kind of mini cast here, we're going to have up on the Sweaty Opinions Facebook page. Keep checking back in because there's going to be more photos. There's going to be more audio updates of Joey and Chris's adventures over there on the West Coast and in Nerd Mecca for day 2 and day 3. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that stuff. And we will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you tomorrow, man.
See you, man.